Can we just talk for a minute about the grief that comes when we get our hearts broken by the family we grew up in, or by the people we hoped would love us the way we needed to, but they didn't? This is a really tough one. I see so many survivors going back over and over again to families that reject them or continue to be abusive toward them. Or like me, so many of us have chosen to stop interacting with our families, but often wonder if we've made the right choice. Or we get stuck in a romantic relationship that doesn't serve us. We're constantly hurt, but we can't let go, or we can't seem to get over the person we finally developed the strength to leave. The other person may have left us, but we can't stop obsessing over them and what we did wrong or what we hoped it would have been. I spent 30 years in bad relationships, and what I'm about to tell you is the reason I stayed too long. It's the reason many people stay in abusive situations way longer than they should. And I can't tell you how many times I've thought about contacting my family that I grew up in to tell them why I'm not talking to them. I would say it took me a full year to stop fantasizing about sending a letter or an email and to just let it go. When we've had childhood trauma, we experience a special kind of grief. Typical grief involves experiencing emotions that are associated with the loss of someone or something. But for those of us who've had traumatic childhood experiences, grief is about trying to avoid losing the hope of gaining something that we wanted but never had. When it comes to an abusive parent, it means we continually keep our sights on the imaginary loving parent that our real life parent wasn't capable of being. Instead of seeing the reality that this parent will never give us what we want or need in terms of safety, love, and belonging, we hold out hope, thinking that if we're good enough or if we explain ourselves well enough, you can fill in the blanks here when you think of your behaviors that you've used to try to win an abusive parent's love. We hope that that parent will magically become the parent we needed. Going no contact means that we have to grieve the idea of who we had hoped that our parents would be. For me, it meant a full year of holding up what actually happened, who they really were, against what I'd hoped they could be, and reminding myself that my idea of who I needed them to be never existed. It was hard and painful, but it ultimately released me to be at peace with my decision to go no contact. In romantic relationships or friendships, we have to do the same thing. We must recognize that the person right in front of us is who they are. No amount of changing ourselves will make them into the person that we dream they could be or that we need them to be. This kind of grief isn't actually loss of a person. It's loss of our fantasy hope of what we need. It means we have to get real with ourselves and honest about how much it hurts to admit to ourselves that the person right in front of us will never match what we hope they'll become so that we can feel safe, loved, and secure. The good news is that grieving our hopes allows us to be realistic about our real needs moving forward. And it makes more room for us to be able to actually see ourselves, to be able to see where our hurts are and where healing is needed. When you do that, then you'll be able to nurture yourself in a way that doesn't leave a gap between your real needs and the hopes that you put on other people who would never have been able to love you in the way you deserve in the first place. Childhood trauma has such a profound impact on our ability to make securely attached relationships, and it takes more than knowing your attachment style. To really heal, you need to see where your interpersonal triggers show up in relationships and learn to heal those triggers. As you do that, you'll be more able to stay connected to yourself and really evaluate interactions that you have with others, whether it's romantic relationships, friendships, or family relationships, from a standpoint of whether or not these relationships are actually healthy for you. You'll learn how to set appropriate boundaries and heal in a way that lets you shift toward more love and peace in your life. You can learn all of this by joining me inside Trauma Free Nation, where you'll get access to my full course, The Trauma Erase Method, and twice per week, support group sessions to help you apply what you're learning with me in Zoom. Go ahead and click the link in the description to get started. I'm Tamara Ridge, the therapist that's been there. I'm here to help you in your healing journey so you can build a healthy, satisfying relationship with yourself first, Then strengthen and build your relationship with others. I'll see you on the inside.